What's up, you guys? This is a little bit of a different video. I was going to say reading, but it's not a reading at all. I'm kind of just explaining what tarot is because I feel like, in my experience, there are countless individuals who might have been taught something about what tarot is without actually understanding what the truth behind it really is, the nature of it, or how it actually functions. So if you have any questions at all that I don't cover in this video, I don't expect this video to be long, but there are countless questions around divination, tarot, and stuff like that that people tend to be very curious about. So please feel free to ask because I might not, know what to cover otherwise. But that being said, I'm going to kind of just jump in. So first and foremost, most people, whenever I offer tarot readings, or most people have the assumption that tarot has a lot to do with telling you your future, which it really does not. Like, yeah, there are times like where a prediction might come out, but that's not the predominant focus of tarot. The predominant focus of tarot is to read energy as it currently is, and sometimes it's like how you can sometimes predict the weather, and there might be like a lot of momentum built up behind, an event coming. Then maybe a prediction can come through, but that's not the inherent point of tarot. And the way that I like to explain it is it's kind of like, imagine there being like different things going down like a hill, like be it a bike, a car, or even a freight truck, right? If a bike's going down the hill and it has not too much momentum, then you could probably stop it before, it comes up. And that's why certain predictions are able to be shifted or changed. Because a prediction can come out telling you like, oh, you're going to stub your toe tomorrow if you go to the beach. And then you can just decide not to go to the beach. You know what I mean? Like, we have free will within whatever prediction might come out. So we're always able to work around it. But there are times like where there could be something that's heading towards you that might have a lot of momentum built up. And that could be why sometimes when a prediction comes out, you then end up experiencing that. But it's not inherently that tarot is meant to predict things or that it's always going to predict things with 100% accuracy, because that's simply not the case. We have free will and different timelines exist. What tarot is best used for is, so tarot is structured to be, there are 78 different cards, and they're all resembling of different energies that we go through the human experience, right? From grieving to death to having fun to friendships to love to any aspect of the human experience. The 78 cards are meant to embody those different energies and archetypes of the things that we do and the things that we go through. So in theory, if I were to pull the entire deck, then there might be a card that resembles or that might resonate with you for every card that I pull. But the predominant use behind tarot is to pull cards resembling the most dominant things that you're going through during this period in time of your life and how to navigate through them. So it's mostly and best used as a tool for guidance and tapping into your subconscious and being able to see energies displayed directly. So like, imagine your energy, imagine your energy has like a signature, or your energy is like invisible, right? What tarot does is it then brings images and imagery towards whatever energy you might be experiencing. And then what a tarot reader does from that point is translate the images to be relevant to what you're experiencing. So a lot of times what I tell people is, you'll understand the context behind what I'm saying, but I'll probably just understand like the energies. So like, for instance, I could see like, oh, you're going through a really difficult time, like something really heartbreaking, and you'll know that like, okay, like I just lost somebody, or I'm going through a breakup, or I just went through this really difficult time. And it's not to say that that's not something that we all don't go through, but we're not always going through a bad time. We're not always going through joyous times. We're not always going through periods in which we are, feeling prosperous, or times where we're feeling broke. What's going to happen within tarot is it's most likely going to reflect the most dominant current things that you're going through in that moment, as well as maybe some of the strengths and weaknesses that you might have as a being and where you are personally within your development. So, for instance, say that I am somebody who is going through a breakup, but at the same time, I just got a new job, a promotion, or whatever else. And then in that exact same breath, I'm still kind of confused and disoriented. Then there would be different cards that would represent those specific things. You're not always going through that specific set of circumstances in your life, and what tarot will do will pretty much be a snapshot of those energies that will then be reflective of whatever archetypal energy that you're going through. Even if it's something along the lines of trauma, and then you having like walls up, it's meant to be reflective of what you are currently experiencing. It's like a snapshot of your energy being presented to you and then translated. So most times people, whenever I do readings for them, there's a lot of times they're like, oh, that makes sense. It's because like they're aware. Like, people are like, oh, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. you know what's going on in your life. Like, you know what you're experiencing. So 9 out of 10 times, like, what's going to come out in a reading is simply going to be reflective of the things that you already know, because it's your own energy being read to you. I'm not like telling you your future. I'm not like predicting something crazy. It's where you yourself are heading or trending. And then, for instance, like, if somebody has intentions set, like I think one of the better ways I can tell how tarot can predict something is I had two different coworkers. One didn't want to be wealthy, one did. So one of the ways that cards might then predict certain things that could be trending in your life is one of the cards for the person who didn't want to be rich, you might show maybe financial stability, you know, but then for the person who wants to actually be abundant and really wealthy and get like all these money opportunities, then a card for higher amounts of wealth or abundance might then be reflected. So it's not to say, again, if I don't go through this entire deck, there's not going to be cards that are reflective of whatever you are trying to go through. But what I am saying is that it should be most reflective of what you're going through at this time in your life, and like where your mindset is, where you're focused, and how you're operating. So other questions that many times people tend to think or conflate it with is the aspect of having to connect with spirits or demons or whatever else. And it's all about intention. The same way that anybody prays to their God is the same way that you can use cards. So if you have the intention to simply connect to your own intuition or just the energetic field itself, just strictly that, then that's what happens. If you want to connect to your spirit guides by using the cards, then that will be what happens. If you want to connect to your deities, so on and so forth. It's all about the intention that you use behind something. And many times people have a lot of fear around these things because there's a lot of misunderstandings about what it actually is, but it's not that it's inherently anything bad. It's literally just reading your energy. So, I mean, it's like literally taking a picture of yourself or taking a picture of your energy. And if that is something that is demonic or bad, then I mean, maybe that's just reflective of the shitty things that you're experiencing or the shitty things that your energetic field has. Like, I don't know what to tell you. But no, there aren't cards that are reflective of like demons or anything like that anyway. It's just not how that works. And many times there are cards that are symbolic. Like there is the devil card in here that doesn't have anything to do with the actual devil himself, but has to do with representations of how, for instance, the devil, like what it represents is like, you know, sometimes being bound, sometimes being restricted, sometimes being toxic, being operating out of a way that is not healthy mentally or in certain paradigms. So the devil card and even the death card, they're all about symbolism and the archetypes that these things might resemble versus actually being a literal screenshot of like, oh, the devil or death happening. So it's also very important to be mindful that symbolism is very heavy within tarot. And sometimes that's why people can just look at a card and kind of get an idea of what's going on. Sometimes people are able to intuitively pick up cards and kind of read because the imagery is also meant to invoke certain images or invoke certain things in your mind to know, like, okay, this is what that means. And sometimes it's, you know, people study and have to learn the meanings, and sometimes it's a combination of both. I think tarot's best done both, where it's like you're learning the archetypes that are set forth, but at the very same time you're also using your intuition and then crafting that as you go along. So I guess I'll end it for like what you can expect out of a tarot reading if somebody does one for you. So again, everybody has different levels in which they are interacting with the metaphysical. So some readings will be more in depth than others. Some people will be more spot on than others. But most times you should have at the very least some form of confirmation, I'd like to think, some form of clarity, or at least a deeper understanding of like where you are in your journey. And it should be for the most part something that is consistent, eye-opening, and it's almost like it is a science. It's just not something that people understand to be such because not everybody is able to fully interpret cards that might come out or connect to the energy that they need to in the way that they intend. But in my experience, if you are a good reader, then you should be pretty much batting like a good 95 to 99% accuracy rate with what comes out. Like the cards themselves cannot be wrong. You can interpret them wrong, but the cards themselves, once you pull them, they are simply reflective of your energy. That's like taking a picture of you or looking in the mirror. They cannot be wrong. You can interpret them incorrectly, or you might misunderstand it, or the intention in which they're pulled. Maybe the question wasn't clear enough, or maybe, you know, certain things might not necessarily be answered, or maybe it's more obscured or hidden with reason. But the cards themselves are not inaccurate. It's just the way that we might interpret them. But hopefully that clears up something for somebody. I know tarot has a lot of conflated meanings and ideas behind what it actually is. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to let me know. I love talking about this stuff. Especially since I know it's a science that people are starting to understand. So any way I can help anybody understand it, the better. But peace and blessings. I'll catch you in the next